In order to do plotting, the first thing we're going to do is create a new plan view, and we're going to call it plot. If we click on View, Create, Plan View, and we're going to change the number to plot. If we click Create and then maximize our plan plot view, here we're going to turn on the survey models. We won't turn the tin or the tin groundry on at this stage because we're going to be creating labelled contours. Feature labelling. The points in the survey can be labelled according to their names or codes. Labelling can be text such as heights, codes and point numbers. Firstly, we'll look at the label map file. We will select File IO, Label Map File. If we call up the label map file using the folder icon, walk right on userlib and double click on training.lmf. If you then select read, it'll then read in the information. If we first look at the height text data branch, you'll see that there are a number of columns. The first column is the actual code that we are looking for. The next column is the text style, so you can specify what text style the height will be. The type, whether it's in paper, screen or world units. The size, color, angle and so on. Also the justification is able to be set along with the width, precision, number of decimal places, and any prefixing or suffixing that goes with the actual data. We'll now finish on the panel here and we'll go run the label map file. If we select File IO, Use Label Map File. Here we're going to map View Plot, so we click on the View icon and select Plot. We're going to call up the map file we just looked at. We click on the folder icon, walk right on userlib and double click on training.lmf. We're not going to use models for labels, we're going to instead untick that checkbox and use prefixing for models. The prefix for the point IDs will be in lowercase txt space ptno space, and then the model name will come after that. The height will be txt space ht space, and the code or name will be txt space cd space. We will now click Label and then Finish. Prior to actually turning on the models, there is a lot of empty models generated using this option, so we need to go Models, Delete, Delete Empty Models. If we click on the arrow down button, you'll see quite a few there. So just click Delete All, then Finish. We can now turn on our new models by going plus and just highlighting all of the TXT models and click Select. If we zoom in to say near the trees, you'll see there's quite a lot of text on the screen. A lot of these values you would normally turn off. So for example, we wouldn't want the surface level readings or the topo one, so we could just go to our minus button and we can turn off a lot of the text here. However, it will be available if you were to give it to somebody else. They can then turn that model on as they require it. So what we'll do is we'll leave the top ones, we'll just turn off everything below TXT HT road. We'll leave the point number on, so we'll hold the control key down, click on that and click Select. So we still have features such as invert levels, station numbers and so on. The plot scale can be set at this stage, or it could have been done before the previous option. As we want to do 1 to 500 plots, we need to set the screen plotting scale to 500. This is done by clicking the menu button, walking right on Settings and click on Plotting Scale. If we then change the scale to 500 and click Set, it will adjust the text so that it appears correct at a scale of 1 to 500. Labelled contours are created now. This is done under Tins, Contour, Contour Smooth and Label. We're going to give it a function name so that we can rerun it if necessary. Contour space ground. Press enter. The tin we will contour will be ground, so double click. And we're going to fill some of these panels in. The model name for the minor contours will just be contours. We'll leave the values as they are at the moment. If we go to our major contours, and we're going to call the models here contours space major. And again, we can just leave the colors as they are. We don't need to set up a range here. You would only use a range if you only want it to fall between certain heights. If we click label, we need to tick the checkbox to label major contours only. The label method will be line removal and centered line red uphill. The number of decimal places will be 0 because it's every meter. And the text style will be contour label 1 to 500. We're going to put a start distance of 30 and a separation of 30. If we then click process, we can then go to our plus button and turn on the contours models and then click finish. You can see here the labels, and you see they're all the same size as our text that we created previously in the label map file. A north point can be added using the option drafting north arrow. Here a standard line style is set up in 12D. For the scale factor we will change it to 5. To locate the north point we click on the icon and we'll just place it, say, over on the right here, pick and accept, and we're going to add it to view plot. If we click process, you'll see that it's created a north point there, and the model name will be north point. Text can be edited or added into the graphics. In this case we're going to add some text. Up in the CAD control bar, if you click on the icon, there are some default names that will set up our text control bar for us. If we double click on text road names, you'll see that the model TXT has been set up, a default color of blue, and also the text style over on the right hand side in the text control bar has also been set up. So to add text, we're going to go to the CAD text toolbar and go to create text. We can go to the text toolbar and select create text. We then click where we want the insertion point of the text, so just left button, middle button, somewhere there, and type in a road name, Brown Road, and click OK. As soon as you do this, the text will appear along with some lock points. If we wanted to orientate the text, say, to the center line of the road, we click the right icon, pick, and then as soon as we start moving, you'll see that you can rotate. If you want to make it tangential to that other line, you click T on the keyboard and you simply click on the crown of the road and then accept. If you want to move it, you click left button down at the insertion point of the text, and again you can move it to, say, somewhere there, click once. If it locks onto another string, just click left button again and it'll then break free and then accept that position. If you press escape, it then is ready to type in a new piece of text. To edit a piece of existing text, you would use the first option there, edit text. Again, you would pick anywhere in the text and accept, and again you've got the option of rotating. You could move the justification point. To place a grid, we can firstly set up the grid parameters using the option Menu, Settings, Grid. To draw a grid, we tick on the checkbox. We can change our X and Y values both to 50. The text style can be changed to, say, ISO. And we can put prefixing in, so we can go E star small m, so it'll be E, then the number, then small m. Same with the northing. You can change the text height. We might just make it a little bit smaller. That's just what you see on the screen. And the plot height we can make it 2. Text color will change to dark green, and we can leave everything else as it is. So if we click set, finish. We'll now look at some different types of plots. A section of the survey can be easily plotted without the need to set up a plot frame. there is a new improved quick plot option called Quick Sheet Plot. So we click on the printer icon and click on Quick Sheet Plot. If we zoom into point 2722, so to find that we just click F2, pick, and we type in 2722, enter, and you'll see it's highlighted in here. So we'll just zoom in about here somewhere and just click finish on the string inquire. As we zoomed in, you'd see that the actual plot frame stays consistent on the screen, and that's because it's set up for an A4 and it's view controlled. If we wanted to zoom in a bit and we wanted to put, say, an A4 plot somewhere about there, we could look at the scale and say, okay, well, let's try 1 to 1,000. So I'll type in 1,000, enter. When you do that, it goes from view control to data control. And you could actually move that around. So if you click on the icon down the bottom left, you can then move the plot frame or the quick plot frame over to, say, here. We can plot it to a model, and we're just going to give it a model name. We'll just call it Preview Quick Plot. It'll be a 1 to 1,000 A4. You can set up the sheet margins, so they're 5mm margins at the moment. We can give it a text style, say call it Arial. We can give it text height, we'll say 3.5. And we're just going to put in some information here. We'll just call it Quick Plot for dam. Okay, if we then click plot, it's plotted the data to a model called Preview Quick Plot. If we finish on this panel, we can now have a look at that using a view, and we're going to create a new view called Preview. So we click View, Create, Plan View, and we'll call it Preview. If we then click Create, we can then turn on that new model, Preview Quick Plot, and there's a quick plot of what we saw on the screen previously. In the bottom right hand corner, it also shows you the scale and the actual date of the plot. Right, we'll just turn this off, this view. We're now going to look at plotting using a plot frame. Firstly, we create a plot frame and place it over the data we want to plot. To do this, we select the option Plot, Plot Frames, Create, and we call up the title file using the icon. If we walk right on UserLib and double click on A1 Training, it will then read in the title block file, populating most of the panel. What we have to do here is give it a scale, so we'll type in 500, enter, and we also have to give it the origin of the bottom left corner of the sheet. So we click on the icon and just put it down here somewhere, pick and accept. That can be moved around later. The title block file also populated the margin tab. Right, if we click create now, it creates the plot frame. We just need to turn it on, PFA1 survey, and we can now use the option translate to move the plot frame around to wherever we want it to appear on the screen. Once we've done that, we can just, in this case, untick the draw viewport border. We don't want a border inside the plot frame, and click set and finish. To plot the data inside the plot frame now, we're going to use the printer icon and click on plot frame. Here we're going to fill in the values under plot frame. We have to firstly pick the actual plot frame. So we click on the icon, pick out at the edge of the plot frame. We have to tell it which view to plot, which is plot, and we're going to plot it to a model. So this one will just be Preview Plan, and we're going to get it to prompt to clean the plan view. So we don't want to automatically do it, just in case you actually manually edited that data. If we then go to the title block section, we're going to use a title file, so we tick on that checkbox. We then go to the plus and we click on User Title Info. Here we call up the title file, again from user library, and it then populates the panel here, and we can go through and put in values that will then appear in the title block. Once that's filled in, we then select plot. That again will plot to a model. So if we go to our preview view and turn on the model preview plan 1. We just move this out of the way for the moment. You'll see that it has our title file, the information that we put in to our plot parameter file has filled in the title block for us. And once this is checked, you could then send that onto a Windows device. If I click Windows, so in this case it could be a plotter or PDF file. Before we finish this panel, it's a good idea to actually save the parameters away. So we're just going to call it Detail Survey Training and click Write. The reason for that is if we needed to run a plot out similar to that again at a later date, we could just call the parameter file up, read it in, and then just change some of the values.